Big Pharma got you down? Are you worried that Big Pharma is making you sick? Do you need medical advice from an ND, not doctor? Fear not, I am Dr. Geriatric, here to meet your medical needs. You might remember me from a previous commercial where I offer old world medicine just shy of the Victorian era and right around the establishment of germ theory. I am back to tell you about our latest immune booster full of all natural ingredients. We are going back to the Louis Pasteur time and scraping animal pox and injecting it into you to help boost your immune system to combat the more harsh diseases. We're going back to the good old days of early medicine where everything wasn't complicated by Big Pharma and the FDA in cahoots to keep you sick. This is how it works. We'll just give you easier diseases that might protect you from worse diseases. Now, we can't guarantee that you'll be immune, and there's a chance that you might die, but hey, at least you won't be contributing to the Big Pharma mafia, you know? We have a special disease club where you can punch off your diseases and at the end get a discount on sore treatment when you fill up your punch card. So come into Geriatric. We have appointments available on the weekends, and you can bring in whoever you want because we're all about communicable diseases and we share those. So stop worrying about Big Pharma Mafia and come see the good old Dr. Geriatric for your pre-medical regulation, non-FDA treatments. We are all about making things as natural as possible, and this might encourage natural selection to select against you, but that's the circle of life. Y'all all love that. So come see me today. Hello. What's going on, guys? Woohoo! That was a throwback commercial from when I used to do Oral Audacity with Doc Savage. You can still check out all of our episodes on the channel. That was a really fun show. And so we had a great time with that. And so sometimes I would make little fake commercials from our sponsors, but that's okay. Frodo's upset about something. Anyway, let's see who's in the chat today. Mr. Shadow Kitty. What's going on? Got you here. Got Cold as Fook. Thank you so much. Sexiest scientist on YouTube. There you go. Go ahead with you. Just, it's funny. Oh gosh. Not in the mountains this week. No, I'm back. Hey, Nether. Hey, Doc Fearsome, what's going on? Wayne Terry in the chat today from Canterbury, England. What's the hot topic today? Well, I was going to complain about YouTube putting a strike on my channel because I've been complaining about that all week on Twitter, and they returned my video and took off the strike. I yelled a lot. That's essentially what happened. Sandy, how you doing? Oh, we just started, Sandy. We just started. I was playing some of the intros and other stuff like that. So there you go. Oh my goodness. Hello, Arthur. How you doing, Sir Marvin Manister? What's up? What's going on? So, yeah, so YouTube, my stream from last weekend, I suspect mass reporting because, people don't like me sometimes. Whatever, it's fine. People don't have to like me, that's alright. Um, so some people, particularly anti-vaxxers, don't like me, and people like grifters and stuff like that, um, because, I destroy their arguments, and that hurts their feelings, and they get really upset, and then they mass report my channel. So I was accused of having medical disinformation on my channel from last weekend where, I was streaming from the mountains and we were talking about the latest nonsense from the COVID-19 deniers and the anti-maskers and the anti-vaxxers. And we were also talking about ethics, talking about Raul Didier and how he was all screwed up and stuff. Hey, Leah, what's going on? So I got an actual strike on my channel because they said that I was promoting medical misinformation. And then I appealed it. And then I got an email saying my appeal was denied. So I got really mad about that. And other content creators have been going through this. I was on a show with Hannibal and Monty Wednesday night, and our show got cut halfway through the stream. And we were talking about vaccines and how absolutely ridiculous people are, and that they're still COVID deniers, and that it's messed up and this is killing people. Hannibal had a whole rant about it. And we were watching like Tucker Carlson on Fox News and things like that, and all the just ridiculous, terrible things that they were saying. I'm so over Fox News, guys. I'm serious. I am over. I'm going to turn on my fan because I'm a bit warm. I'm a bit warm. I'm about to get heated even more. By the way, Nina's here. Let's have a look at our science doggo. She's doing all right. Where are you at, Neen? There she is. She is the protector of the Funko Pops. The protector of the Funko Pops. The protector of the Kevin Smith shoes. The science doggo. And Queen Bee herself, Nina, my supervisor. What's up, Neen? She had to get her blood taken yesterday and had like a teeny tiny little like Band-Aid kind of wrap on her leg. But she does not have heartworms. And so, yeah, so she's just hanging out, doing her thing. That's her spot. If she were a dragon, I guess that'd be gold, but she's the protector of the Funko Pops. It's all right. So, yeah, so it was denied. And I posted this like on freaking Twitter, and I'm like, WTAF, like for real, what the actual fudge sickle? You know what I mean? What the actual fudge, what the actual farking fark, And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, you have like entire propaganda mills like PragerU. PragerU is like allowed to run rampant with their garbage. And when I trash stuff like that, it's like, no, she's medical misinformation. I'm like, you guys didn't even watch the video. Don't sit here and say you watched it. Hey, you doorknob head. So they said that they reviewed it, and after reviewing it, it still does clearly violate community guidelines for safety on medical misinformation. Oh, golly. I do go all Starbuck on them farkin' farks, I'm telling you. I try not to swear too much, because this is like, but I'll be honest, I did swear a little bit on the Hannibal and Monty show, but they're used to that because Hannibal and Monty swear a lot on that show. But it was really cool. to be on their channel Wednesday night and to talk about the misinformation. And I was really upset. I get mad when we talk about Fox News, and Hannibal and Monty were talking about punching Tucker Carl in the face. I went kind of like full on, like, not. I probably said some inappropriate things, and I wouldn't actually, do the violent things on Tucker Carlson. But man, they make me so mad. They make me so mad. Oh my God. Oh, Leah, you saw me on B's panel. Yeah, B's pretty cool. B's a lot of fun. And soon to be Dr. Ben, right? They're pretty cool. Oh, so it's like, so I was very sweary on Hannibal and Monty's show. And then the second half of their show was removed. So they cut us off midstream, had to start a new stream. And if you guys know what a pain in the butt that is, because they just decided to cut us off. There was no reason. Nobody had internet problems. It was just cut off. But we could still engage in the chat. So we started a new stream and they completely removed the second stream, even though we are absolutely destroying the bad science associated with, or the bad myths. I won't even say it's bad science because it's not even science. Raoul Didier was bad science, or Didier Raoul, whatever his name is. I can't stand that jerk either. He's that French guy who lies. Andrew Wakefield lies. Didier Raoul lies. And yes, I bring them up in my lectures where I teach. Because, when scientists lie, people die, right? Hey, Dr. Osiris. Hey, Harmonica Man. What's going on? So, yeah, so I raised a big stinking fit on social media about it. And I'm like, have you seen my channel? Have you seen my channel? What are you doing? And they're like, no. Like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even know what you're talking about. Hello, Vandalia, 1998. What's up, Nerdy Wrote It? So I thought for today, we could talk a bit about how their algorithms are screwed up. Their algorithms are screwed up. Their reporting system's garbage. And when they say, oh, we reviewed your video. No, you didn't. You didn't freaking watch it. Go look at the rest of my channel. I've been covering COVID extensively since the beginning of this pandemic. And I support what the general consensus among the medical professionals and what they say. And so I got super punchy. I don't like Tucker Carlson. And I took the gloves off on Hannibal and Monty's show. So it's very uncharacteristic of me. But certain things, Ugh. Man. So I got really, really irritated about that. Yeah, we reviewed it equals we looked at the output from an algorithm. That's right. And so, yeah, I was bringing up little videos that were garbage, and I was talking about how garbage they were. I'm like, what is wrong with you? So, that's just how it is, I guess. People are just being farking farks. So anyway, yeah, I was going to continue to complain about that, but YouTube took the strike off my channel and restored the video. So, yay. Screaming at people, I guess, works sometimes. I got full Karen on YouTube, man. I would like to speak to your manager of YouTube, because what you said is not true, and I don't appreciate that. Oh, my God. So there you go. My water is almost hot, still seeking coffee myself. I have mine and it's starting to get cold, but it's in my R2D2 mug, which means it makes it better for some reason. I know it's weird, Sandy. YouTube did the right thing. It's strange. And Dahlia says, an anti-vaxxer told me science once said cigarettes and asbestos probably were safe. So that means the vaccine isn't safe. Okay. I have a good response to that. And something that I talk about, you want this mug. I got it from the Disney store. I don't know if they have them anymore, but that rhyme. I'm rhyming today, guys. Hannibal from Hannibal Monty, you better watch out. I might actually start getting better at rapping. Probably not. So it's like, if you guys ever heard me rap, man, it's comedic. It's not even good. I can't rap. So, So just plug. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. Never mind. I like the Beastie Boys. I figure if I can at least get to Beastie Boy level of skills for rapping, that's probably the best that I would ever get, is maybe Beastie Boys level. But I'll probably end up looking ridiculous like Vanilla Ice or something like that. Stop, collaborate, and listen. Yeah, no, see, I don't have the voice for it. So what you want? You so funny with the money that you flaunt. Where'd you get your information from, punk? Maybe I should make a rap like using that in about bad science. But so to address the thing about, well, scientists said this, at one point in time. It's not hard to find a fringe scientist who'll disagree with 99 others. You'll find the one out of the 100. You'll find one who's like, no, and then you have 99 others that are like, gosh, nobody likes him. That's Bob. Have you seen Bob? Bob's data is trash. So I mean, I have a science doggy, but my rhyme's a little foggy. I'm drinking my coffee and it's great. I don't know. See, I don't do that. So you'll always find one. So how do we deal with that? I know how we deal with that. And so I have a video for you guys. This is I used to do like little short 30, 45-second videos, sometimes a full minute, talking about different sciencey things. So let's have a look at this. I'm going to go to this here. I'm going to turn off the chat overlay. And I'll cut off my camera. Yep. So there you go. Let me go back to my little thumbnails. Here we are. So that is a little video that I made for talking about one of Carl Sagan's quotes. And that's what you do. You have to critically think. And so it's very, very important that academics, particularly those in science, we've got to help our students identify what is good science and what is bad science. That's what we have to do. I'm on Disney Plus. Yeah. I too like Loki. It's a great show. But it makes me it's like, woo. Let me fix my stuff here because it's getting a little nuts. What is going on? Sometimes YouTube is a bit too excited and wants to go on to the next video. And I'm like, I did not ask for this. So we as science academics, particularly those of us who are still teaching, even in college, having been a teacher in high school teacher, I tried really hard to work with my students to help them understand the difference between what good science looks like and what bad science looks like. And there is a distrust. Now, people will say that they trust scientists, generally speaking, but they don't. If there's somebody that they disagree with, they think, oh, I can disagree with this portion of science, even though all of the experts in this portion all agree with this. Here's the one guy that doesn't. Therefore, those 99 are wrong. And I talked a bit about this when the Roundup causes cancer. No, it doesn't. It doesn't cause cancer. What that was trying to convince a jury that, that bit of doubt. They needed to inject that doubt. The likelihood that you will get cancer from Roundup, it's like non-existent. Hey, Neen, are you wanting down? Do you want down? I don't make her sit up here if she doesn't want to. Can you say hello really quick before I let you down? I won't let you down. I'll put you down. Now, she had on her little tiny paw, she had like a Band-Aid because they took like a little wrap. So they had to take blood. You do not have the heartworms. But, I'm not going to eat the horse medicine like other stupid Americans are doing right now. Environmental damage. I mean, possibly. It depends on where it runs off to, if you have a lot of runoff. So, can I go back in time and be your high school science teacher? Man, in the 90s, would have been a little bit easier, if I'm going to be honest. I could have probably done more things, and my worth as a teacher wouldn't have been evaluated according to a test. 50% of my evaluation was based on a single test on one day. And I thought, that's a bit much. And it's multiple choice. And we're not allowed to know how they score, whether or not a student has effectively, done above what they've previously done. Because they wanted you to make them better at science, which, okay, I get it. Well, they were really bad before, but if you make them better, that's great. And if they were, really awesome before and they missed 2 questions, then that's going to tank your score. And they never would explain to you how they figured that out. Your whole evaluation was based on what they thought the students actually learned, which seemed to be completely arbitrary. If your students were predicted to get every single answer right and they missed one, your score as a teacher would tank. They were supposed to get them all right and they missed that one. So you're a terrible teacher. That was worse. That would hurt your score so much worse than if a kid who always failed made a higher F. Oh, well, they always failed. This time they got a D on the test, or they got a higher F than before. Good job. Yeah. They got a higher F than before. Then you got really good feedback for that. But if a straight A kid lost like 1 or 2 and they were expected to get them all right, that tanked your score. Well, they were exceptional kids. How dare they get 1 or 2 wrong? You're clearly really terrible at this. And you're going, "Oh my gosh, really?" That's teaching now, guys. If you teach like a measured course is what they call it, one of the measured teachers. And then sometimes your scores were based on how well kids did on the ACT. So, I mean, if you weren't a measured teacher, then they would take everybody else's students and measure you based on how they did on an ACT. So, that's fun. Oh my god. So yeah, so I when in the 90s, they didn't have that. There was the No Child Left Behind thing was not a thing. So, you know, what do you do? Yes, they usually get F minus, but today they got an F plus. You are an excellent teacher. It was that kind of logic. It's crazy. But yeah, so we as professors and teachers, and I feel for secondary science teachers, there is just no definitive way to win with the current system. There just isn't. And so you have to teach rote memorization. They don't actually learn what the stuff is. They just learn photosynthesis and the definition of it, but they don't really understand what's going on. They just know what it is. And I'm fortunate that now that I'm teaching college, I do have smaller class sizes. Right now, it's like enrollment is dropping. And where I teach, you can get the first 2 years of college. If you go to a community college, you can get them for free. And if you're an adult and you want to return and get get like even an associate's degree, they'll pay for it. So where I'm working, I'm fortunate that we can do that, but enrollment is like a little bit of an issue because we're doing in-person classes now. But the good news is the county where I'm at, they have a mask mandate, so people can wear masks. I'm like pushing for people to get why we should get vaccinated in my class. And it's awesome that I can do that because chemistry, I teach chemistry. And so the talks that I've hosted, Doc Savage has actually come over to come over being like remotely to the college and given remote talks about vaccine technology and the COVID-19 pandemic, viruses in general, zoonotic viruses. And his entire talk was just a Q&A session. And now I've made that video and I ran it actually from my setup here. So that's something that the college has never done before, is bring in remote speakers college wide, opened it up to the public so that, you know, they can ask questions. And so that's what it was. It was just a straight Q&A session where he would just answer questions as people pop them up. And so now I make that video. I used to make it like an extra credit assignment. It's going to be required viewing now. You're going to have to watch this video and write a paper about it. I'm making it required viewing because he answers all of the common misconceptions, and he is a world-renowned immunologist. So I'm like, they had access to an actual expert to ask the questions and say, what is it really? You know, you have news conferences, you have all of that, but to be able to actually ask a question to an expert is so very valuable. So I make that required viewing now. So I'm trying really hard to get people vaccinated. And that's the only way we're going to really stop this, is if we continue the mask mandates and start firing people if they don't get vaccinated. And then we're going to have to start doing something called triaging, which is something Texas is considering right now. And that's going to be a thing. Let me catch up on the chat here. Hello, Michael. How you doing? I don't think I've said hi to you yet. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else I missed that I hadn't said hi to. Okay. Let me see. I'm trying not to go in on the education system. Ooh. Um, if I wasn't teaching college, man, I would consider another job. I don't know that I'd go back to teaching high school. I'd consider maybe starting my own business and just running a virtual school, a virtual STEM school, and get some other people involved if at all possible. What happened to the pass fail marking system? Is that still a thing? Yes. You can, at my school, you can do a pass fail type of thing. But a lot of programs require the GPA kind of thing. So the only way something could be pass fail is if you weren't having actual tests, like if you were doing undergraduate research. Hello, OT. So you can teach me chemistry anytime, Mel. Giggity. Also bring pie. 3.14. We could figure out, the circumference. Well, we could figure out the area of a cylinder, right? With pi. Anti-maskers think we love wearing masks. No, we hate it as much as you do. But we don't want to be stuck in our houses for another year. So we are doing what we can to make sure we can end this. That's right. That's right, Vandalia. Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna bring up a few things today. Doorknob head says maybe if the government wasn't too unreliable with the truth, wasn't so I think I was so unreliable with the truth, science would not seem as dubious to folks. Yes, I agree. Hello, Geo Sam. Oh, I've recently purged all my social media accounts, and your channel was one that was saved from the chopping block. Thank you for that. I know what that's like. I need to go through and start purging myself, purging stuff too. Well, let's talk a bit about some of that, if distrust of the government. And and then you get like, I'm going to put this in the side chat. So here's a link to an article that I've got. Leah says, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. Parents opposed to masks in schools attacked some pro-mask teachers after a meeting recently. Footage aired on mainstream media. So embarrassing. Yeah, I think I talked about that a couple weeks ago. Is my dog back over here? She's so little. It's like she'll get underfoot sometimes. So I thought we could talk a bit about this article that I found. This is BuzzFeed. Celebrities and people who have large platforms, it's particularly important for them to promote the correct information as well as, the good science. Because for what they're like, we shouldn't be idolizing celebrities. Well, it still happens. Okay. It still happens. There's very few celebrities that I would probably get like super giggly over, but I have like tried so hard not to ever do that again after the Will Wheaton incident. Oh my God. I've been pretty chill since. And when I got to meet Kevin Smith and hang out in his living room and stuff, I was super chill, guys. I was like, keep cool, stay cool, be cool. But, when he mentioned me like a couple of times on his different podcasts, oh my God, you would have thought the Beatles were like in my living room. I was running around going, ah, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. He said me in the podcast. What am I going to do? Oh my God, this is so amazing. But that was private, I didn't like go up to his face and go, oh my God, you like Kevin Smith. He said stuff about me. I was like, be cool, man, be cool, be cool. And so I don't idolize celebrities like other people have because I don't want to be that person. So let's look at, 17 famous people. The famous people who promote the correct information. I'm all for that. Ryan Reynolds, some people think he's a jerk. My brother acts a bit like him. So it's like when I hang out with my brother, it's like when he was a kid, he was way more like Jim Carrey. And then my brother grew up, and then now he acts a bit more like Ryan Reynolds, except without the Deadpool swearing. He doesn't really Deadpool swear, but he gets creative with his swearing. So Ryan Reynolds got vaccinated. Good job, Ryan. And so did his wife, Blake Lively, a Gossip Girl person. Don't know who that is. Now, anti-vax, Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider. Why are you doing this? Deuce Bigelow. He posts anti-vaccine memes and inaccurately called the vaccine experimental gene therapy. It is not experimental gene therapy. I don't expect Deuce Bigelow to understand the science behind things. That's fine. But maybe, just maybe, say, hey, I don't understand this stuff, but I'm going to go with what my doctors say because that's their literal job. So disappointing in Rob Schneider. Martha Stewart, she got vaccinated. Good on her. There she is getting her shot. Britney Spears got a vaccine. I'm so glad that her dad's not her conservator anymore. He seems like a jerk. She got vaccinated. MIA, I don't know who this person is. In 2020, she posted some disturbing anti-vaccine statements on Twitter. They didn't link it there, so I guess, they're like, we didn't do that. Sophie Turner's with Joe Jonas. I figured she could do better. I don't know. I mean, that's a cute picture, though. I mean, okay. Mindy Kaling got the vaccine. Vax, wax, and ready to pay my tax. Good on her. Offset has said he will not get a vaccine. He would be, I don't trust it, he replied. He always mentioned his distrust in the government because they haven't done enough to help the Black community. Black Americans have suffered a disproportionate number of COVID-19 deaths in the U.S. Okay, I understand his hesitancy, and I'll tell you why. I understand his hesitancy, but I really wish he would speak to someone who is Black and in STEM. I really wish he would speak to somebody who is in the field. That's an expert. That's a Black person. And he's not wrong. There has been a disproportionate amount of deaths within the Black community because of the fact that racism in medicine exists. And medicine, honestly, has got a terrible history of torturing Black people. We've had eugenics. Black women have been sterilized. Slaves, there are some stories where slaves were experimented on. So I get it. I understand the distrust of medicine. I understand the distrust of the government. But in cases like this, I mean, and I can't go up to him and say, hey, you should get a vaccine, says the white lady that's a scientist. She's probably, and I get it. Some rando white woman going up to a Black guy who distrusts science and medicine because of the history and what's going on with this pandemic, the racism involved. I can't do that to this person. But I do ask that they talk to a Black person in STEM that they trust. a medical professional, a Black medical professional that they trust, and get the accurate information. So I understand the hesitancy here, but it's, what can you do? He says, I'm not trying to be a lab rat, man. He said, despite the fact that vaccines were tested in large-scale clinical trials endorsed by the FDA and have been given to more than 200 million Americans. I mean, it's hard. It is hard to overcome certain fears, particularly when the government and science has had a history of treating Black people like utter trash and garbage and torturing them and hurting them and destroying their communities. I understand that, and that's a way more deeper seated issue that is going to require scientists and medical professionals to be more open and work to control their biases. Mariah Carey got a vaccine. Cool. There she is getting her shot. Hugh Jackman got a vaccine. I don't care for those glasses, by the way, Hugh. I'm not a fan of those, but you do you, boo. Wolverine got the vaccine. All right. Letitia Wright. I'm disappointed because she's Princess Shuri. I freaking love Princess Shuri. She has previously shared misinformation about the vaccine. And she deleted her tweet with a link to a video containing misinformation about the vaccine. And she got a lot of backlash. She goes, if you don't conform to popular opinions but ask questions and think for yourself, you get canceled. Here's the problem. Popular opinions. A popular opinion is that you should eat horse paste, right? Horse deworming paste instead of getting the vaccine because it's ivermectin. Stop eating livestock stuff. That's a popular opinion. That doesn't make it correct. This is why you don't go with popular opinions. You go to, what do the experts say? Oh my goodness. So it's like, don't go with popular opinions. That's how we got in this anti-vaxxer mess anyway. Thank you, Daily Mail and Andrew Wakefield. Don't go with popular opinions. Go with what the experts say. The majority of the experts. That's not opinions. Those are facts, okay? And if there are opinions about what could happen in the future based on current trends, those are opinions. We don't have the data yet for certain things. But you're still getting an informed opinion from an expert who's done this stuff for the majority of their career. So that's the only problem I have with, if you conflict with popular opinion, why are you looking at popular opinions? Go to the experts. They know what they're doing. All right. Dolly Parton, love her. She got vaccinated and she donated funds to get that Moderna vaccine done. Yep. Vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. Kerry Washington got a vaccine. All right. There she is. Pro-vaxxer. We need some pro-vax shirts. Samara Armstrong frequently posts anti-vax statements on Twitter. I don't know who that is. OC Star. I don't even watch that show. Untested shot made by criminals. What? Oh my God. Go sit down, lady. Rosario Dawson. Making Clerks 3, man. She got vaccinated. And she's a Mandalorian actress, right? Jonathan Van Ness got a vaccine. There he is. He's doing great. Ariana Grande got vaccinated. Samuel L. Jackson, that MFer got vaccinated. Take your MF and your motherfucking vaccine, man. He did the drive-through thing. I don't know who Anwar Hadid is, but he's not vaccinated. And he's like, I want to get it naturally. I want to make it naturally, not unnaturally. How are you? You can't make antibodies unnaturally, okay? Whether it's from a shot or the virus, making antibodies, it's all natural. I'm just saying. What's, naturally, these same people are like demanding Regeneron monoclonal antibodies that are antibodies made in animals. But hey, can't make my own for free. Makes me nuts. The Rock got vaccinated. There he is. Look at them muscles, man. I don't understand. Steve Martin got vaccinated. I'll answer your question here in a bit. I know I have a question that popped up. I see you, Leah. We'll talk about kids and getting vaccines in just a minute. I promise. Love Steve Martin. One of my favorite sketches on Saturday Night Live is when he's like walks outside of like what looks like a gas station with Bill Murray and he goes, "What the heck is that? What the hell is that?" And we need to be doing that again as a society. What the hell is that? Ask questions. And it's okay to have a bit of a fear of stuff you don't understand. But that's when you go ask the people who know about the stuff. I'm scared of this. Chet Hanks. Boy, Tom Hanks's son. A few weeks ago, the infamous son of beloved actor Tom Hanks, who was one of the first celebrities to share his own COVID-19 diagnosis in 2020, shared a video on Instagram. He pretended to encourage fans to get the vaccine and then yelled, "Psych!" I won't even play that video. Well, here's my question, though. Chet Hanks, is he complaining about the vaccine because he's going against what his dad would do? Because his dad is like a national treasure, has contributed money to like World War education, bringing forward information about heroes during the World Wars. I wonder, is this a rebellious son? Is this a rebellious son who's trying to not be like his dad? That's what I see here, and it's kind of sad. I mean, I don't know. And then he yells psych at the end. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I never had COVID. Y'all sticking me with that MF and needle? Look at him. It's like, yeah, I hadn't heard of him either. I didn't even know who Chet Hanks was. I knew who Colin Hanks was because he looks just like his dad and he does acting and stuff. Colin Hanks is really talented. I think he's cool. He does a good job. I don't know who this guy is, but he's just like swearing at people. I think he's like the really sad son that's trying hard not to be his dad. And he's lashing out this way to say, my dad is dumb. Y'all don't love him. Okay. It's all right. It's fine. I get it. If you have like a super high profile parent, that's got to be very stressful because then you're expected to either go into the same field as they are because that's usually what they expect you to do. Society and all that. But you look at like Stella McCartney. Yeah, she didn't get into the like music and stuff, but she developed a clothing line that's pretty successful. So, and to be fair, privileged people like this who have very wealthy parents have a great opportunity to develop whatever craft that they want. Come on. But he's just like trying to not be daddy, and it's really frustrating and very, very disappointing. But what can you say? Let's catch up on this chat here. Psych. Whatever. Gosh, man. The 90s called. They want their haircut back. And their freaking slang. And their wife beater t-shirt. Oh my gosh. Lovecraft. HP and not the sauce. Um all right, Leah had a question. I heard that children are less likely to get the vaccine, but now they're working on a jab for kids under 12 years old, and I've seen reports of young kids being hospitalized. Can you explain? Yes. I think what's going on is they're trying to work out dosage. They're trying to work out dosage. While kids are very resilient, okay, you still run the issue of them being carriers. Um, and there are children that are currently being hospitalized for COVID-19, and there are babies that are catching it and dying in the hospital. Wait, I love my tank top smell. Let's not go too far. Wife beaters. I do have some tank tops myself. Um, but the problem you run into, there could be long-term complications associated with a COVID infection. And when you're dealing with kids, we already know that kids can have long-term effects from certain diseases like polio and measles and, you know, that sort of thing. But we don't know what the long-term effects and if long COVID is like going to be a huge thing, particularly with kids. So I think what's going on is they're working on a dosage for children under 12. And they're going to need to complete some clinical trials first before they can do that. Let me see if I can find some information really quickly for that. I'm so sorry, Dr. Osiris. I am so fortunate that the majority of my family is vaccinated. I'm trying to get my sister vaccinated. She was turned away by Walgreens, saying that since she's immunocompromised and she has autoimmune disease, they wouldn't vaccinate her. And I'm like, what? Um, Go to your doctor if you have concerns that you can't get the vaccine. Go to your doctor who's fully aware of all of that. Let's see if we can find the latest information on that. They are doing clinical trials in children for the Pfizer vaccine. So let's open up information about that. Um, uh, Here's what I found, and this is off of the Pfizer website, but big pharma, whatever. If you don't have a vaccine for a disease that legit kills people, and you're filling up hospitals trying to treat a disease for people, you're not really going to make any money if they're dying, right? If you're killing, that's why it just really bothers me. Vaccines, yeah, you can prevent infection with vaccines. And right now, these vaccines are free. They're not always going to be free, guys. They're not always going to be free. And insurance companies are looking at pushing the hospital bills back on people. So let's see. Participating in a clinical trial. Let's see. Let's see. So let me share this with you guys. So let's have a look here and turn off the chat overlay for a second. And I posted this in the chat here. So there's currently a trial going on for kids.
I'm going to open that link in a new tab. And so what Pfizer says, in the fight against COVID-19, a vaccine is a critical part of addressing the global health crisis by decreasing rates of infection, diseases, and death worldwide. The landmark Pfizer BioNTech phase 3 clinical trial began in late July 2020. So this has been studied, the effects of the vaccine have been studied for a year now. There's nothing major about a side effect. Close to 3,000 participants were adolescents. Participants were between the ages of 12 to 15, and 754 participants were 16 and 17 years old. In March 2021, Pfizer and BioNTech dosed the first healthy children in a global phase 1-2-3 continuous study to learn if the vaccine can produce an immune response against COVID-19 and if it is safe in children aged 6 months to 11 years. So it looks like they talked to pediatricians, they talked to pediatric researchers, child health advocates, parents, caregivers, and pediatric patients themselves. So they talked to kids as well. Today, those insights are at work in over 100 active or planned pediatric clinical studies as Pfizer continues to strive toward developing breakthroughs that change patients' lives. So it looks like they are working. They are working on one for kids. Let's see. Pfizer and Moderna. Well, paywall. You stink. Forget it. I'm going to see if I can find it somewhere else. So this started in March 20. Let's just look at the clinical trials website. All right. So here's the Pfizer study. clinicaltrials.gov. So you can have a look at this as well. Clinical trials have to be approved by the government. You can't just go and do it. You have to get approval through the FDA in order to start a clinical trial. Study to evaluate the safety, tolerability, and immunogenicity of an RNA vaccine candidate against COVID-19 in healthy children less than 12. So these studies started, it was first posted in March 25th, 2021, and they're currently recruiting kids to participate in this clinical trial. This is a phase 1-2-3 study in healthy children less than 12 years of age. Phase 2, you notice, this is what they're looking at dosage. How much do we give the kids? And I figured that's what it is. We know how much to give teens. We know how much to give, kids 12 and up. We know how much to give adults. But we don't know how much to give kids yet. What's going to be the best immune response? So phase 2, they're trying 10. I think that's what, micrograms? No, MC. Yeah, I guess that's micrograms. MC grams. And then 20. Next one's going to be 20 and 30. So they have to see which one has the best response. Whichever one has the best response to develop immunity, that's what they're going to go with. And that's what they do here. So the purpose of phase 1 is to identify the preferred dose levels from up to 3 different dose levels in each age group. So they're hitting different age groups: infants, young children, like primary school ages, and testing to see which one provides the best immune response. Approximately 450 participants, 300 in the active vaccine group and 150 in the placebo group, randomized in each age group in this phase, will contribute to the immunobridging analysis at 1 month after dose 2, and will contribute to the overall analysis of the persistence of immune response at 6 months after dose 2. So they've got to check, right after dose 2 and 6 months down the road. So this is outlined pretty well. They're looking at the interventional study, that's the clinical trial. So they have different stages. So they expect to be primary completion date and study completion date is going to be in September. But I suspect if they have initial data that's really good, they'll probably have an emergency authorization. Now, the people that say, oh, well, it was an emergency authorization, it's not real. FDA didn't really approve it. Yes, it did. MCG is micrograms. I'm used to the mu simple, I'm not, but it's not very common on type, unless you have a medical keyboard thing. That's what I figured. Thanks, Dr. Osiris. Micrograms. That's what I thought. So I suspect that the FDA will probably authorize emergency use because babies are dying now. They're actually catching COVID-19 and dying. I saw something, a horrible tweet by somebody. It was a baby in a red state. And he goes, well, that's one less Trump voter. And I'm like, it's a freaking baby. My God. Could you show some humanity? This is one reason why people hate scientists or hate, people who tend to lean a bit left. If they're saying, well, that's one less Trump voter, just shut up, man. It's a baby. That baby doesn't know anything about politics. My God, that's just terrible. So we got a clinical trial going on. I suspect that they will be, let's see, they've got their intervention and the treatment, shot in the arm, 10 micrograms, 20 micrograms, and 30 micrograms. 2 doses, 21 days apart. If they get good data, initial data, and they're able to show that there's no real major side effects, which will happen usually within the first 2 weeks, because messenger RNA falls apart in your cells after a couple days. Very short half-life. Your body gets rid of the genetic code. So it looks like low dose, mid dose, and high dose. 6 months to 2 years, 2 to 5 years, and 5 to 12. That's their age grouping. And this is how they're going to report those measures. So if you ever want to know what's going on with a study, there is so much red tape and hoop jumping that you have to do just to get to the clinical trial phase. You have to outline every single step. Then the FDA has to approve the clinical trial. Then after you get the data, they're like, what data did you get? Then they got to look at that. And then they can make a call whether or not you keep going with your phase 2 and phase 3. It's not FDA approved. FDA is heavily involved in these clinical trials. This isn't just some, hey, we're just going to go testing on people because it's Saturday, having a wild time. Nobody does that. So you two can kind of check this out. And then they go through every single phase. They even have eligibility criteria. Whether can you participate in this study? Exclusion. Who do they not accept? I'm almost through this one document. And they've got a call center. You can see if you can get involved just by going to, here, inquiries at Pfizer.com. Here are the different study locations and where all they're recruiting. So if you have a healthy child, and you want to get them involved on this to where they can test out the vaccine, They have locations in Alabama, which is desperately needed, California, Colorado, Connecticut, DC, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Missouri, Nebraska, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, Washington, and even in Finland, Poland, Spain. So if you want to get involved in the study, just have a look. All the information is here. I'll post it again in the chat just in case you need it. We already know this vaccine works on adults. It's just a matter of dosage for children. So have a look. You can email them. You can call that number. Let's go back up to the number if you want to get involved in a study. It is 1-800-718-1021. There you go. All right. How we doing? How we doing? Let me catch up on the chat. One reason the messenger RNA vaccines are given in such big concentration is because too low in the body will destroy it before it can get to your cells to build the protein. That's true. That is true. Sandy, one thing you can do is give them the information. You can send them this information and say, hey, why don't you get your kids involved in this study? And have them take a look. Yeah, see, that's the thing about the messenger RNA vaccine. They're in those little kind of like little lipid bubbles. And so your cells have to uptake that. So number one, your cells need to actually absorb those little lipid bubbles to get the messenger RNA into the cell. So it's got a journey and, attached to those cells. Number two, the messenger RNA falls apart in a couple of days within the cell. So yeah, the higher dosage is really important because you want to make certain that they actually get to enough cells in order to make enough of those proteins. I would, but their parents might burn me out. I have to rely on educators. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm going to text my sister and say, get my niece involved in the study. Oh man. I'm catching up. I'm pretty sure my friend is stuck on getting confirmation bias and telling me it comes from Nobel Prize winning scientists, says Harmonica Man. Oh my goodness. And my friend says he has read reports where more long-term symptoms, serious ones, are coming from the shots, so he won't get one. No, they aren't. He also won't give me the links or go to the ones I send him. Well, I mean, that's how it goes. Let me see. Thought I saw another question about long-term COVID. That's going to be a real issue, guys. I don't think people understand the long-term effects of COVID-19 that could lead to chronic illnesses for people, permanent lung issues. Don't think people get that. And one of the reasons why is because this virus can enter just about every cell in your body. Oh, God. I am so tired. Guys, I'm like for real tired. I'm just tired. I've had it with anti-vaxxers. I've had it with people who deny the existence of this vaccine. Or the existence of the virus. I've had it with all of them. And the next thing that we're going to end up seeing, let me pull that up. I'm going to post this. over on Twitter so I can lead people to this. Your children involved in the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine study. Alrighty. I'm going to post that on Twitter. So you can go back and check my Twitter if you lose the link here. Okay. Something else that's happening. Where did it go? I lost it. All right. All right. Let me see if I can find that article from The Atlantic. Well, I can't find it, and I had it before, and then I went and deleted everything. Fantastic. So in Texas, they're going to start doing a triage on whether or not people. Here it is. Here's one from Forbes. Here it is. Okay, I found it. It was on Wired. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this. All right. This was the article. This is from Wired. And this came out August 23rd, 2:38 p.m. Adam Rogers. Would it be fair to treat vaccinated COVID patients first? Last week, Texas healthcare policymakers discussed taking vaccination status into account for COVID triage. It's a larger conversation ethicists are bracing for. I mean, that's what it's going to come to. Who gets to get treatment and who gets sent home? And there's been walkout protests associated with this where doctors, they didn't actually leave the hospital, but they had a press conference saying, we're tired. You guys have got to get vaccinated. Some people are saying that this isn't really how triage is supposed to work, but it's a complicated medical issue that's not always easy to determine in advance. And this is going to affect poor people and ethnic minorities, which is the truth. It is going to do that. So the thing that we're running into is people are dying from bullet wounds. This is happening in Atlanta. People are dying from bullet wounds because they don't have a bed to be treated. People are going to be dying from car accidents. And COVID-19, for the most part, to have the serious symptoms are preventable in 99.9% of cases if you get the vaccine. And it's hard to tell whether or not you, if you're a healthy person, no comorbidities, no pre-existing conditions, you can still get a severe form of COVID-19 and die without any other issues. So, I mean, you have to get vaccinated. You really just need to get vaccinated, because if you're vaccinated and you end up, You go to the hospital, you're going to be sitting there with a little oxygen pumping into your nose, and you'll be texting on your phone. If you don't get vaccinated, you're going to be face down, intubated, with a catheter shoved in your pee hole. Come on now. I mean, for, could say urethra, Some people don't understand what that word means. So do you want just light treatment if you happen to get, symptoms that are scary enough to take you to the ER? Or do you want to be face down with a tube down your throat and one in your pee hole because you can't get up and move around, possibly put in a medically induced coma because you might want to just pull out that tube every once in a while because it does not feel very good. So now this fourth wave of COVID hospitalizations differs from all the others because almost everyone who is severely ill is also unvaccinated. In Texas, more than 12,800 people are in the hospital because of COVID-19, and between 93 and 90% of them are unvaccinated. It's tempting to blame this wave on the virus, but not on the virus, but on the people who didn't get their shots. I mean, but that's what this is, right? That's what this is. We're seeing an increase in cases. So is it fair? I mean, now we're going to get to who can we treat? Who can we treat and save? The person with the gunshot wound or the person who has severe COVID? I mean, what can we do? Yes, triage is a complicated medical and ethical issue, but the plainest version is that most effort goes to the people most likely to survive. And you can't determine that always in advance. And it's hard to know. And then that's the thing. If you're young and healthy and you got severe COVID, you're probably more likely to get better, but that's not always the case either. It depends on your viral load, how much virus got into you at that first exposure. That's a big, big factor. That's why the masks are important. They limit how much virus gets into you at that first exposure. And if you already have antibodies, they're likely to be neutralized right away. If you get a full face full of COVID, right, all over you, it sounds kind of gross, and you breathe it in, and you breathe in a huge amount of COVID, which the Delta variant, come to find out, has a higher viral load. And let's say you have antibodies, but the virus still manages to make you feel a bit yucky. Your body's already been exposed to those proteins before, so they can make antibodies quicker. And so you might feel bad for a couple days, but you're not going to die. So here we go. We've got this ethical dilemma. What are we going to do at this point? So here we've got vaccination status may be considered to get ICU beds at Dallas areas if COVID spread worsens. Then this came out. Let's see. Well, no, that's the 19th. So here, the North Texas Doctors Group retreats on policy saying vaccination status to be part of care decisions. This is a serious conversation that we're having. I mean, this is where we're getting to. There are people been in libraries. When I want that Regeneron monoclonal antibodies, well, you could have made your own for free with a vaccine, and you wouldn't need mice or goat antibodies. So we're dealing with a very dire situation. And it's very hard for me to feel bad for people like this because these anti-vaxxers, they pick on my mom. My mom's friends in her Master Gardener group pick on her for listening to the science. She wouldn't go to their parties at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. And then they would make fun of her behind her back. There's no excuse at this point. they're just being this way to be jerks. I mean, they're not. I understand the genuine fear of racial and ethnic minorities. I understand that fear. I do get it because science has failed them many times before. There is racism in the medical community. The government treats brown and black people like crap. I get it. But then we still have to try, you know? Let's see. I had a question. Let me pat back over here and we'll answer some more questions. I saw a couple of questions about why not the full dosage for children. I saw that Sir Marvin Manister had that question. It kept getting yeeted. Why can't minors get the full dosage? Well, let me see. What's the full COVID, like the Pfizer dosage? Pfizer vaccine COVID-19 dosage for adults. Let me see what that is. I'm looking it up. It's 0.3 milliliters. Okay. All right. So it's 0.3 milliliters. That's a bit larger than micrograms, than 10 micrograms. Well, it's largely to do with the fact that children are smaller than adults. We don't necessarily need to give them like a super high dose anyway, because we're not entirely certain. You want to give them just enough to get a sweet immune response. You don't want to overload their bodies with a lot of extra stuff. The idea is to get the lowest dose possible to have the maximum effect. And children can respond to things a bit differently than adults. All right. Let me see. I will say that at least a couple of country musicians, Garth Brooks for one, canceled recent concerts due to the Delta variant. Well, that's nice. Garth Brooks writes great songs, but I wish somebody else would sing them. Not a fan of the country music. My enjoyment of it stops about around the Johnny Cash era. Sir Marvin Manister says, ScientistMel, a coworker lost a cousin, 29, perfectly healthy, died within 5 days of showing symptoms. Yeah, I mean, however much viral load you get at the beginning is going to be a big factor. Hello, Atheist Junior. How you doing? So that's kind of where we're at with this. Let me see. I'm trying to. This is pretty interesting. I want to share this with you guys. Yeah. Garth Brooks he just looks like he smells like a Waffle House. And, I bet he smells like a mix of Waffle House and like if Wrangler had a cologne, like Wrangler jeans. Isn't there like a cowboy cologne? I feel like he's like would smell like that, like fried potatoes, maple syrup, and whatever that Wrangler cologne is. I think that's how Garth Brooks smells. And maybe he carries bacon in his pockets. I think he might. And he wore jeans to the freaking inauguration. My God, can that guy wear a suit at least once? Just, nice suit. Just, is that, why not? He could look like an oil tycoon with his cowboy hat and boots, sure. But maybe wear a nice suit every once in a while. All right, so let's have a look at this. Golly. Eating at Waffle House reminds me of the explosive diarrhea that I've had every time I've ever eaten there. When I think about that, I'm like, it's exceedingly painful. I bet if I tried to listen to Garth Brooks, I would probably have explosive diarrhea just because I think I associate him with Waffle House too much. And if I do go to Waffle House and I play country music, it's Johnny Cash every single time. Folsom Prison Blues. Got to listen to that while you're eating a waffle. Get you some coffee. Mm-hmm. What's really fun is like, putting in $5 in their jukebox and play nothing but Johnny Cash. Just get rhythm, That's fun. I like Johnny Cash. I should start playing my guitar again. I could play Johnny Cash songs. Play a little bit of piano. Was raised on piano. Got the drums down. Could play some guitar. Give me some Johnny Cash going. The Man in Black. All right, let's have a look at this. Check this out. Here we go. So this is in Memphis. All right. Individual schools, not entire Tennessee districts, can go remote due to COVID, school officials say. Now, Governor Bill Lee, who we'll just call Billy Bob because he has about the mentality of one, he signed an executive order saying that parents could opt out of having their kids wear a mask. But, Shelby County has had it with Governor Bill Lee. So you want to watch a little drama unfold. There's some stuff and things going on here. Why doesn't this blow up? Here we go. What in the heck and heck? Where did this go? All right. This is what I wanted. 3 articles left. Okay. So here you go. You can have a look at this. They will let individual classrooms or schools temporarily pivot to remote learning. And I have a feeling the reason why they're forcing these kids to go to school is because they don't want to have to pay for these kids to get extra childcare. And they don't want to have to pay additional unemployment or at least checks to parents who have to stay home and watch their kids. This is about money, guys. So let's call this what it is, though. This is about money. It doesn't acknowledge the existence of a Tennessee State Board of Education rule that would allow districts to request more flexibility in district-wide operations. And so they're kind of ignoring all of this. And right now, Shelby County is actually suing Governor Bill Lee over the school masks. They're actually suing him and saying that, they had initially had, oh my gosh, I'm going to close this. They initially had a mask mandate in place for that county because it was becoming a really bad hotspot, an increased amount of COVID-19 infections, worse than the original pandemic, largely due to people not vaccinating. So Shelby County's government has filed a lawsuit against Tennessee Governor Bill Lee challenging the governor's recent order, which allows parents to opt out of masks in school. The county argues the order puts children at risk of COVID-19 exposure, illness, and possible death. Governor Lee, he's in trouble now. He's in trouble now. His executive order makes the maintenance and support of a system of free public schools impossible, says the complaint that was filed on Thursday. The suit argues that with the Delta variant running rampant, more and more students will have to go into quarantine until the majority of students can be vaccinated or until masking is uniformly adopted. The county is asking the federal court to take several actions, including imposing a temporary restraining order, stopping Lee from permitting parents in Shelby County schools from opting out of the county's mask mandates. It's also happened with Governor DeSantis in Florida. He had, and so there's precedent for this. There is precedent for this for local states to completely override executive orders. The Supreme Court overruled Governor DeSantis's mask ban and saying that he's overreaching and he can't do that. So we're seeing this. Governors are getting sued. You love to see it, don't you? Governors are getting sued now, saying that they are overstepping their power. I mean, governors look to the general welfare of the state, but we still have local governments that can supersede certain things. And one of those things is, how are we going to run the school if everybody gets the Rona? What are you going to do? And it also conflicts against federal guidelines for containing this virus. Yay! I hope you lose a lot of money if there's money involved. I'm so sick of this. This is just absolutely ridiculous. And I feel like we need to require adults and teens and middle schoolers to get vaccinated. If we're going to have them go to school, we already require them to have vaccinations unless they have a medical reason. And it's really hard to get a religious reason. It's really, really hard to get that. That's a loophole. That's not very, it's not easy to get that. And so in order to go to public school in Tennessee, you have to have vaccines anyway. Adding this to it. Just saying. There's already precedents for this. Woo. Man, I'm tired, guys. I'm tired. Let's catch up on the chat here. My governor was almost kidnapped and had all her power stripped from her for emergency situations. Michigan. Huh. Man, so much for conservatism and local governments having control until they do what they should, like public safety. I mean, it is a public safety issue. We stopped smoking in restaurants because we know that smoking causes cancer, and people who don't smoke can get cancer from secondhand smoke. Why are we pushing so hard about the COVID-19 thing? We can mask mandate. Oh my gosh. We can do all of those things. Man. Sue him, slap him with a large tuna him, says Doorknob Head. It's so irritating, guys. I don't know what to do anymore. Pecan. Do you say pecan or pecan waffles? That's important, Sir Marvin Manister. It's not pecan, it's pecan. And a pecan is an outhouse, okay? A pecan is an outhouse. Pecan is the thing. Man. Good description. ScientistMel for Garth Brooks. Wrangler Waffle House, Cologne. The latest from Garth Brooks. And his new fragrance for Billy Bob Governor Lee. Oh my gosh, that man's vaccinated. He is vaccinated. He's pandering to voters. That's what he's doing here. And it's also about money. They don't want to have to pay more money. Oh my gosh. All righty. Let me find There was one more thing I was going to do. We've been doing a lot of different stuff. It's pretty cool. We've been covering lots of things. Trying to see the other thing I was going to do. We could watch another one of my fake commercials if you want. Those fake commercials are fun. Oh God. I am so sick of the Governor Billy and his garbage. All right. I'm going to close all that out. There it was. Would it be fair to treat COVID patients first? Well, what do you guys think in the chat? Do you think it's fair to treat vaccinated people first or unvaccinated people? What do you guys think? Is it fair? Is it fair for hospitals to say, you're not vaccinated? I'm sorry. We got to keep some beds open for the emergencies that come in here for like gunshot wounds, car accidents. I'm really honestly afraid that if I get in a car accident, I'm going to end up sitting in a hospital hallway bleeding to death or something like that. So, I mean, everybody at this point can get vaccinated. Every single person, except for children, because they're doing the studies, but we discussed that. Is it fair for that to happen? I'm going to do fair or foul, just like Hannibal and Monty. Ooh. They did a fair or foul on the show that got canned. Not canned, but wiped by the YouTube algorithm. Yeah, if there's a medical reason, see, that's the thing. If you have a medical reason that you couldn't get the vaccine, that's documented. You know what I mean? That's documented in your records. And all it takes is a phone call to your doctor. I mean, I've never actually seen fairness in my entire life. It's almost like you got to work for the fairness, isn't it? And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be like you have to work for fairness. But yeah, I know I've had to work for fairness. It was interesting. Speaking of fairness, I was asked by students at one point in time. I was asked how I got interested in chemistry, and then I told the whole story where somebody wouldn't write a letter of recommendation for me because they thought I should be a teacher, a high school teacher, and they wouldn't write me a letter of recommendation unless I promised to go to grad school and be a teacher. And I wanted to pursue a postdoc or a postgraduate degree in biology. And they're like, nope. He said, science is hard and you're a girl, you should be a teacher. Facebook reminds me about that every single time because I posted on Facebook the day that happened. I'm like, oh, look at that. It's the anniversary of this. And so I got the master's in teaching. Then I got the second undergrad in biochem. And then I picked up and then the chemistry department's like, hey, you know, we'd like to have you here. So I ended up getting into chemistry because that door opened for me, because other doors were closed because I'm a woman and science is hard. So yeah, fairness isn't real sometimes. Leah says, what about the Hippocratic Oath? Do no harm. That's a good, do no harm. Well, all I got to say is we already have precedent for patients being denied treatment because they're not vaccinated. Pediatricians have been doing that for at least the past 5 years. They've been dismissing patients who refuse to have parents who refuse to have their children vaccinated. And since that's been going on, there are some doctors who have warned their patients, if you don't get vaccinated, I'm not going to treat you anymore. And they in turn have been getting vaccinated. Another thing to consider, If you are a chronic alcoholic and you have like liver cirrhosis or anything like that, and you stop drinking, you're like, I want a liver transplant, and you stop drinking, you go in, they regularly test you for drug use because they're not about to give you a new liver if you don't stop drinking. You will be denied transplants if you don't stop your behaviors that are destroying your organs. Smokers who have lung cancer, they have to quit smoking or they're not going to be given any new lungs. They're denied that. So we already have a precedence for doctors not treating patients who are consistently reckless to themselves and other people. We already have that. I know. And so that's already there. That's already there. We already seeing people that need life-saving surgeries to remove tumors. They're getting denied access to stuff to save their lives because there's no beds. There's no beds in the hospital. I don't want to be bleeding out in a hallway because some jerk who made fun of my mother is, taking up a bed. Now they're lying face down with a tube shoved down their throat. I don't want to be dying in a hallway because they decided to not be responsible. They turned down medical intervention to keep them from being worse, And it's heartbreaking for the doctors and the nurses and these frontline people to have to constantly be working all the time to save the lives of people who made fun of them, who are abusive to them, who wouldn't listen to them. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, now you want to listen. And I feel sorry for them to a degree because they've been lied to and they bought in. They bought in, dove right into the Kool-Aid, completely bought into what Trump said. And there were a couple fringe scientists that he found, probably paid them off to agree with him. And since that happened, it made them feel good about themselves, that confirmation bias. So that was part of that reward system. I'm right. This president agrees with me. He's saying things that are just like what I think. Therefore, I'm super smart, just like him, and I should question doctors. I should be injecting bleach into my skin. I should be eating horse paste because those doctors are dumb. They went to school. Joke's on them. I'm super smart and I don't need no freaking school or medical license to understand that, this is sus. No, it's not. You need a psychologist to deal with your trust issues, number one. Number two, you need a psychologist to help you deal with the fact you've been hustled by a malignant narcissist. And number three, you need a psychologist to deal with your own insecurity issues. So it's like, whatevs. So it's just really, really frustrating. I don't know why this says reload. I'm going to come back and put the chat overlay back up again. It says reload for some reason. Okay. Reload was a Rob Zombie song. All right. The fact that we have Fox News and the fact that they are requiring their employees to get vaccinated. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think Fox News should require people to socially distance or get vaccinated. The whole reason why they were doing that is because they don't want to get sued. I mean, this is about money. They're looking out for their own interests, right? That's what they're doing. Never, ever think that Fox News is looking out for anything but themselves. And so Tucker Carlson and all of these yahoos, they're pushing the pseudoscience because that's what people want to hear. They're pushing this fake stuff because that's what people want to hear. It makes them feel good. Fox News agrees with me. No, they really don't. They don't agree with you. They're just entertaining you because you think it feels good. They make you feel smart. And that's what they're doing. But I do have a really funny video I want us to watch. I'm going to catch up on the chat really quickly. Biochemistry was horrendous. I did, there were 100 people in my biochem class. 15 made a C or better. A whole bunch dropped. I was really happy to get my C, guys. C's get degrees. And just so you know, academic perfection is a lie. My undergrad GPA is like a 2.7. I mean, it's a rare day you see a valedictorian in frickin' science in graduating from college. The valedictorians tend to be like English, maybe psychology. It tends to be stuff like that. I am a valedictorian. I got a 4.0 GPA and I can speak English because that's my native language. And I've been reading my whole life. Not knocking English majors. I'm just saying it's not nearly as arduous as getting a biochem degree or a biology degree. I'm just saying, it's okay. Organic chemistry. That's the weed out class. That's the weed out class for medical and pharmacology students. If you can't get through organic, you don't graduate, and you need to figure out something else other than med school. People are like, why didn't you go to med school, ScientistMel? I'm like, because I don't want to touch people and bodily fluids are disgusting. Just me. Chemistry is hard. And in my class, I require a lot of work, but your work counts for something. Your work counts for something. And you have multiple forms of assessment, not just tests. You have quizzes, you got lab, you got homework. And I give you opportunities to show me what you know in other ways because I don't test great. My GPA is crappy because I don't test so well. But if you look, like on those stupid multiple choice tests, hey, raw nakedness, if you don't give me all your dolls, I'm never talking to you again. Well, I might just get up full on Hulk on you, man. Don't make me release Bruce. You wouldn't like me angry. I got angry on Hannibal and Monty's show, and I said things that weren't very nice. I did. You can ask them. They're like, woo. They actually sat back and went, damn. And I just was really upset. I don't like Fox News. So, but the work you do counts for something. And I don't know anybody that can get through chemistry without a study schedule, study and all of that. So I incorporate that into my expectations for the class. And I help students work out study schedules, learn, and I teach them how to study chemistry. That's something that's just not given to you. And that's a cool thing that I'm doing at my college, guys. I am coordinating a campus-wide seminar that's going to happen on September 10th on how to study for STEM classes. And I'm working with other professors. I will be running the general chemistry portion. And then I've got somebody to do physics. I got somebody to do organic. And then the second half of the day is the squishy bio folks. So we've got somebody discussing how to study for anatomy and physiology, because each strategy, you have different strategies for each class. And so we have somebody discussing how to study for anatomy and physiology. We have somebody discussing how to study micro, how to study biotech, and how to study general biology. Because each one of those, we're a huge, now we're a community college, and where I teach, if you go to a community college, your first 2 years are free. You can get free education. You can get a free associate's degree. It's part of an initiative. So the upside where I am, you can get a free associate's degree. at least in some form. And then if you want to transfer to like a 4-year program, or you're going to a type of medical based program, you can get all that at my college. So we have reciprocal agreements with lots of different universities and med schools and nursing programs and medical technician programs. So we're a feeder school for a lot of other programs. So we get a lot of people in, and they just do not understand how to study. Most don't understand how to study for these courses, because 70% of our population is poverty line. So they come to us usually from struggling areas and not as good education programs due to lack of funding, and poverty stricken areas. So that's one of the things, seeing as I understand, because I used to be a high school teacher, I understand who we've got coming in. I understand a lot. We have a diverse population of students, anywhere from kids right out of high school to grandparents looking to get a certification so they can continue their job or get more pay. So it's huge. So you've got people who do not understand how to study science. So I'm coordinating a seminar that we're giving for that, and it'll be really cool. Hello, we need critical thinking. So that's one of the things that is really helpful. And it is awesome, Dr. Osiris. It is awesome. I really love my job, and I do a lot of work with it. So it's like all of my other hobbies. I have friends that I used to play in like this war game. I just keep like up a little bubble on my war game, on my little castle, because people will attack you and take your stuff. And they're like, "We miss you." I'm like, I understand. But, I've had to go to the doctor. I've been in physical therapy for my knee because I have the rightus, guys, in my right knee. And I've been on anti-inflammatories. I was getting back to the gym and I jumped in a bit too hard and it kind of blew out my knee a little bit. But then I've spent like 2 or 3 weeks in physical therapy, taking anti-inflammatories. I'm getting back to the gym. I'm hitting it hard. I'm feeling the burn, and I don't have the pain that I used to have. And so I've graduated from physical therapy and my orthopedic doctor. And I'm working on that. I'm going to a licensed dietitian to help me deal with. I'm a recovering eating disorder person. I've been on both ends of that spectrum, and I've been very public about it. So it's not like super private for me to say that here, but I've been on the anorexia side and I've been on the binging side, and I've been like working out. Sometimes I get like super hyper on the anorexia side, and then I'll start working out to the point of exhaustion. And then I'll be like, I can't eat until I exercise, kind of thing. And then like a couple days later, I'm like super starving, hungry. And then I'll be eating that. And then sometimes I sleep eat. It's just a big old mess, guys. But to be fair, a lot of this pandemic has taken away all of my normal coping mechanisms to deal with stress and anxiety. And, I hadn't been able to go to the gym, and I really enjoy going to the gym. It's ridiculously hot now. I was afraid to leave my house a lot of the times because people out here just don't wear masks. So I wouldn't take walks when it was cooler because I didn't want to run into people. I don't think you guys understand just how horrible this pandemic has been on my mental health, to the point to where all of the things that I normally do to cope with, I do have chronic anxiety. I have crippling anxiety, and I am on medication. I got doctors, therapists, and all that stuff. And it was well managed until this pandemic hit. And then my medications weren't working as well. I was having panic attacks during my sleep, and they would wake me up, and I'd have them for hours. and then I would be exhausted. It would take me like 2 or 3 days to recover from that. So I've had to shift to new medication, and now I'm like, I can finally exercise, And so once I got vaccinated, I was like, I can start doing the things again. So then I had to overcome the concern of leaving my house and getting the virus and doing things like that. So it's like all of my COVID, and I hadn't really changed too much what I was eating, but I wasn't active anymore. So I gained like 30 pounds, man. I think it's about 30 pounds. And so that's triggered lots of other disordered eating because I'm just like a hot mess. So I'm just going to be honest. Dieting is stupid. It doesn't work. It just doesn't. And it's never really worked for me. I can't stand Weight Watchers. I can't stand Jenny Craig. I hate things like that because they're not meant to help you recover from all of this, right? It's meant to keep you roped into their program and to continue give them money. That's what they do. I mean, once you lose the weight on Weight Watchers, then you're getting the long-term maintenance program. So you're still paying every month for access to their stuff. But they don't really address the inherent psychological things that are associated with overeating and binging or, anorexia. I had to remember to eat breakfast this morning. I often don't eat much during the day. I often don't, because if I'm moving around, and see, that's the other thing. Now on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I teach from 7:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. at night. And so I have office hours during those times. I have labs during those times. I have lectures during those times. And now I'm working in, okay, I'm going to work in an hour of me working out. And I'll go to the gym and I'll start working out. And so I'm not used to eating during the day so much. And so now, because I've been at home, all of that, and now that I'm super active, and every time I'm like very active, I don't get hungry. I don't get hungry because anytime I exercise, it gets rid of my hunger. It's weird. So I'll go and I'll be like, I'm a little hungry. I might eat a small thing, but like a little protein bar or something, like a little 100-calorie thing. And then I'll go exercise and then I'm not hungry. And I'm just like, and I don't remember to eat. So all of my hunger cues are screwed up. My metabolism is super screwed up. And so I'm having to go through and spend time looking at the root causes of all of this, exercising, not to the point that I want to puke or, pass out, but exercising appropriately. So Robert Reed, he's technically my fitness trainer. I've had a physical therapist deal with my knee and the issues associated with my mobility on what was causing that knee pain. So now I know what I need to do. I run my workout routines through Robert Reed on Twitter. And he's like, okay, I like your data here. And he'll give me feedback. He's worked with me a couple times remotely. So, and I highly recommend him. He's a really good fitness trainer. And then I'm coordinating with my physical therapist. And then I'm going to my dietitian. So it takes a freaking team, guys. And if you have the ability to do that, or if you need help with that, you can start with looking at fitness trainer stuff online. If you're having issues with any kind of joint pain, see an orthopedic doctor. They'll give you a script for physical therapy. I have learned so much from my physical therapy experience about what's actually causing my knee pain, because I was favoring my knee pain leg more than the other. I was actually working harder on that leg because I have weird pains in my left leg. But those weird pains are associated with a weakness in certain hip flexors, the smaller muscles. So I've been spending the past few weeks and I'm mostly I use my quads more than I do my hamstrings. And so my quads were getting really sore, and I have like a fascia. It's the type of like a ligament kind of that runs along the outside of your legs. That's been seizing up really tight, and that's been causing issues on my knees. And so I've strengthened up all those muscles. And so all of that has been contributing to my knee pain. So now I'm taking these exercises that I've been doing, I've been incorporating them into other stuff that I've been working out with. I'm moving away from machines, doing more free weight stuff, which makes Robert Reed happy. He's like, get off the machines. And my physical therapist is like, yeah, let's move away from the machines for certain things, you know. So I've got a plan. And that's what it comes down to. Taking a team and getting the advice from that. That's why Weight Watchers doesn't work. None of this other crap works. It's not like you got to eat less than what you know, but me not eating during the day has also contributed to my weight gain because I've slowed my metabolism because I hadn't been walking around. And since I've slowed my metabolism and I'm not eating during the day so much, I eat more at night, it's caused me to gain weight. It makes no sense. Not in my conditioned brain, but that's where we're at, man. So yeah, and it's weird for me. And my dietitian's like, I want you to eat 17 to 1800 calories. And I'm like, what? I'm used to 12 to 15. And I've been eating really, I don't really eat a lot of bread, low fat stuff. And she goes, no, I want you to eat regular fat things. I want you to eat regular bread. And I'm like, what? So my brain screams at me going, what? Yeah, I can have like regular cream cheese that's not fat free. She's like, it's not a permission thing. So my whole perception of food is I can't have certain things. I can have other things. But I also need to earn it by exercising, which is also unhealthy thinking for me. So, and it's individual. The things that are associated with disordered eating, it's not one size fits all. It's highly individual. And so it takes somebody to go in and ask you questions to find out where your thinking is, to move you into the direction that you need to go in order to reach your particular goals, deal with any body dysmorphia and stuff like that. So yeah. So that's what it comes down to. I've always been told that I'm overweight by other people and not really doctors since I was little. So I've been conditioned in my head since I was a kid. Don't get fat, don't get fat, don't get fat. But when you grow up in a house that's borderline poverty, really all you have sometimes is macaroni and cheese, fish sticks, and fries. And that's what you eat for dinner. And then the school lunches aren't particularly healthy. So it's really hard to eat well if you're in a borderline poverty house. And when my parents split, my dad didn't take care of us. He didn't take care of us at all. And in fact, my mother had to pay him equity payments on the house, and he only paid $300 a month for 3 kids. You can't survive on that. And then he would dodge having to pay that by staying unemployed. And my mother couldn't afford to constantly take him to court, but she always had to pay him $100 every month for equity, or he would take her to court. And he had access to money to where he could do that. So it's screwed up. So I've been told like my whole life, don't get fat, don't get fat. And I don't get fat by not eating, so I don't eat. So in high school, I had the same patterns. So I'm trying really hard to fix that way of thinking and get back to the weight where I felt like I was happy, which is about 30 pounds ago. And it's not like, and this isn't the biggest I've ever been or anything. Like I've been I've been a big girl before. Not gonna lie. Been a big girl before. I'm all junk in the trunk and chest right now. Nothing fits me appropriately. You will see me in yoga pants all the time. So it's like, I've been a bigger girl before. This isn't the largest I've ever been, but it's a problem. I know that's very real. So I'm working through it, you know, but I'm trying to do it from the perspective of experts, not freaking Jenny Craig and Weight Watchers. I don't want to be like that. I want to shift my behavior. I want to find out how my body works, which is going to be different than other people. And I need the input from experts who can spend time with me on that and figure out what I need to do and find ways that I can have a good relationship with food, a good relationship with exercise, because I can be self-destructive in both ways. I can be, and I know I can be. So I need to figure out, you know, where is my sweet spot? So, and that's what I've been working on for like the past couple of months, is stuff like that. And then I also do have a therapist, an actual therapist. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Sometimes I talk about that. And Geo Sam had a vaccine question. What's the difference between administering vaccines in the past to what's happening today? Well, what's happening today is we're trying really hard to get everybody vaccinated, and we got to go through and encourage that. Hey, Bond, how you doing? And so this setup for multiple places, the college where I work, you can go there and get vaccinated. We have authorization for that. And next month is going to be Get Vaccinated Month at the college. So there's this huge campaign to get people vaccinated. Let's see. So I didn't want to miss your question, Geo Sam. I'm scrolling back. Oh my goodness. Catching up. I survived biochemistry. We need to get a t-shirt for that. I survived organic chemistry on my website, which, by the way, my website is back up. You can check out ScientistMel.com. It's down over there in bottom left corner. And yes, I said potty words, doorknob head. I say them sometimes. Let's see. I'm trying to find any other questions. Cycling and swimming is easy on the knees. You know, I've been doing cardio before I hit the weights. I'm doing more weights than I am cardio. But I'll do the stationary bikes and stuff like that. Oh, you have to walk with a stick now. I'm sorry, Dr. Osiris. And yes, hey, Penultima, what's going on? Diets are always scams. They certainly are. They're meant to keep you paying them, you know. Harmonica Man's being naughty. I can't type what I'm thinking right now. I would get kicked out. Maybe. Sandy says, oh, I like her. Again, each person is different, but you found good people. No, I did. And fortunately, I can file through my insurance once I start getting, they don't take insurance there at this particular dietitian place, but I can file through my insurance through them and get some of the money back. Yep. Physical therapists are my favorite type of medical folks. They're pretty fun. And this one, I swear, I told him I was going to swear at him one day because they go and they find where the knots are and then they put their elbow there. And let me tell you, you might make up new swear words for some of that pain. Bond says, I've always had a struggle with food until now. I got up to 300 pounds at one point. I found a lifestyle that suits me. Sounds like you're on the right path. Well, thank you. I'm glad you're on a good path as well. And then Geo Sam says, I recall in the past that we were told to get a jab. We just went and got it. I know, right? You're like, hey, yay, I don't have to get polio. I can go get vaccines, get vaccinated, yo. All right, let's have a look at this. We now have, check this out, the latest scandal from President Biden. I don't know what we're going to do, guys. This is the biggest scandal to come out of the warehouse. The warehouse. I need more coffee. The White House. Let's have a look at this.
A question on the topic is, yesterday the conservative transparency group Judicial Watch released Secret Service on dog bites involving the first dog, Major. One email said that Secret Service agents were bitten every single day for 8 days from March 1st to March 8th, and that a White House visitor was as well. At a March 9th briefing, you only described one biting incident to us and described the dogs as being whisked back to Delaware.
Okay, so it's a bit quiet. So let me just tell you what he's asking here. He said, you said that the White House dog bit Secret Service one time, but they've been bitten 8 times since March. Why didn't you report the accuracy of that? And, how are we supposed to believe you in the future? Now the dogs are back in Denmark. That's the scandal, guys. Let's see what the response is.
On a pre-planned trip to visit family friends, obviously.
And the people who reported this are a GOP watch group. The dog bit some Secret Service people.
That is not the world's most important story, but it is significant because we expect honest information even for minor stories. So can you explain to us why there was some kind of misleading account presented to us? And if we can't get honest information about minor stories, why should we have faith in the administration's?
So if we can't get honest information about minor stories, why should we believe the information from major stories?
Account for larger issues like Afghanistan.
I know you do keep the dog in the news in the briefing room, so thank you for that. As we've stated previously, Major has had some challenges adjusting to life in the White House. He has been receiving additional training, as well as spending some time in Delaware, where the environment is more familiar to him and he is more comfortable. I don't have any additional specifics, but I think that speaks to where Major is located, to be fully transparent in your ongoing interest in the dog.
And your ongoing interest in the dog. Thank you for your interest in the dog. Major's had a hard time transitioning to the White House. So he's back in, Delaware. Sorry, not Denmark, Delaware. Did I say Denmark earlier? I'm just giving up. He's back in Delaware where, he's more familiar. And he's receiving additional training. Thanks for your interest in the dog. This was the big scandal of the week, other than, some of the Biden stuff, as far as if Afghanistan and everything. So what can we do, guys? Not the dog. Woo. Harmonica Man says, my doctor called yesterday and complained about my ketones being out of whack. That liar never heard me play harmonica. Oh my goodness. The dog bit the Secret Serviceman 8 times, not once. Therefore, everything Joe Biden says is a lie, including you, Miss Jen Psaki. Golly. They're really stretching and reaching, aren't they? Oh my gosh. That's what happened. Hello, Titan. Oh gosh, we're going up on almost 2.5 hours, aren't we? Oh gosh, you're prepping for the hurricane. You're going to be rocked. Here I am. Rock you like a hurricane. Not in Denmark. Sorry, J.I. person, Delaware. It's the other D word for a place. I'm not a geography person. I mess up sometimes. I'm sorry, Titan. I hope you and yours stay safe. I'm freaking silly, I guess. I said the wrong words. It happens sometimes. But a whole total misunderstanding involving, freaking Major the dog. Well, I guess I'm gonna call it, guys. It's almost 12:30, and I have to remember to eat food because I don't eat so much during the day, and I've already missed a morning snack. I did have a sandwich, a breakfast sandwich, and now I'm not even hungry. See, that's the biggest issue, is I'm not hungry during the day, and so I have to make myself eat to shift my metabolism back to something that's normal. I'm a hot mess. It's okay. This is why I ask experts for their opinions. Oh my goodness. Hey, stuck in Florida. Y'all need to be careful. Everything's scary right now. We've got misinformation everywhere. We've got people causing the deaths of kids. But I can't stress this enough. Please get vaccinated. Stay safe. Do the best you can. That's all you can do. You can't do more than that. And I will see you. Let me see. I won't see you next weekend. I will be out of town somewhere in the Chicago area. I may or may not live stream next weekend. I'll be near the Chicago area, hanging out with some peeps, socially distancing, and vaccinated. I'm already vaccinated, guys. So let's read a little Mr. Rogers. Hey, scapegoat. Let's read some Mr. Rogers. Shall we look under? Let's look under We Are All Neighbors. This is the world according to Mr. Rogers. I love his little book. We are all neighbors. That's one of the sections of the book. And that's true. We are neighbors. We got to look out for each other. And, Mr. Rogers would not have been proud of me for what I said on Hannibal and Monty's show about Tucker Carlson. And I do apologize for the not nice things that I said for the sake of Mr. Rogers being proud of me. But sometimes you just get really mad and you say things because you need to express them somewhere outside of yourself, because you're just so upset. You know what I mean? Let's see. Let me find something. Let's see. Would you like me to show you some blues joints in Chicago? Maybe, Harmonica Man. Let's see. Maybe. I have to see how close I am. I'm kind of on the outskirts in like a suburban area. Let's see. I'm trying to find a good quote. There's so many good ones here. Let's see. Let me see. All right, I'm just going to do this. When you combine your own intuition with a sensitivity to other people's feelings and moods, you may be close to the origins of valuable human attributes such as generosity, altruism, compassion, sympathy, and empathy. Okay? So when you combine your own intuition with a sensitivity to other people's feelings and moods, you may be close to the origins of valuable human attributes such as generosity, altruism. A lot of people not doing that right now, guys. Compassion, seeing less of that. Sympathy and empathy. So taking into consideration other people. That's something a lot of people aren't doing, particularly those who are not vaccinated. Altruism is a foreign concept to them. That maybe you getting vaccinated and wearing a mask isn't really about you. so much as it is helping other people who can't protect themselves, who have who are immunocompromised, people who have life-saving surgeries that they need, but can't access it because you are selfish and didn't do your part in removing this awful pandemic just through the simple thing of getting vaccinated and wearing a mask. So when you combine your own intuition with a sensitivity to other people's feelings, thinking about others and moods, you may be close to the origins of valuable human attributes. What are those valuable human attributes that you speak of, Mr. Rogers? Generosity, altruism, compassion, sympathy, and empathy. Come on, anti-vaxxers, think about other people rather than yourselves. It's not that hard. And Mr. Rogers would not be proud of you. He would not be proud of you at all. He would be very sad. But he would say, yeah, this pandemic's scary and your feelings are valid that you're scared. And it's okay to distrust the government, particularly with what's going on. But what matters is that we're looking at how we can help other people and how can we make certain more don't die and suffer from this. So it's not just about, well, I don't want to do that. It's about what can I do to make certain other people don't get hurt. Think of the children. I mean, people throw that out there all the time, but they're not really thinking about the kids. They're thinking about an opportunity to get on TV and say that this is their personal struggle, just like the civil rights movement. No, you're white. You're making a choice to be a jerk. People don't get to choose the color of their skin. That's different. And you're being insensitive to those people. In addition to that, because of the color of their skin, they're being treated like garbage and there's racism in the medical field. So the least you could do is get vaccinated and wear a mask. And yes, hashtag don't make Mr. Rogers sad. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. You always make each day special for me. You know how? By just your being you. I will see you guys next time. I will see if I can stream next weekend, but I will be out of town. But I'll see you guys later. Bye.